So Hijack is a show about a flight from Dubai to London. It takes, I think it's six hours, six and a half hours flight. It's a regular flight. And when it gets, my character is traveling back to home from Dubai. He's a business negotiator, and he gets on this flight, and basically a hijack happens, right? And the show is about the examination of sort of how human beings react in that, in the vacuum of being on the plane, and then also the sort of what the systematic response is to a plane being hijacked as it travels over different territories. So that's what the show's about. It's about a man needs to get home. He's a business negotiator, and he inserts himself into the hijack in order to figure out a way to ensure that he gets home to see his family. And it's great. I guess what drew me to the show is the writing, George, and the team. You know, just an incredible perspective on a genre we've seen. Hijacking, we've seen many films, heist films, we've seen all of that. But this perspective is really well thought out, layered. It just felt like, you know, we're going to try and turn this on its head. And the focus being around this man who is not a hero. It's not like a big, you know, army guy or anything like that. He's not an ex-cop. He's just a man with a mission. He's just a man with a brain. He's a man who thinks on his toes. He's a man that's vulnerable, like anyone else would be on that plane. And that's what drew into it, is that it was so, you know, well positioned. Just felt different. So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's a genre piece that has a very different perspective and a way of telling. It's really good writing. If I'm really honest, you know, I wanted to make a TV show, be part of a TV show that everyone was talking about. Everyone, right? You have to see it. You know, when there were only 4 channels and everyone watched TV at the same time over the same period, you know, the next day that's all you would talk about. I sort of miss that a little bit, and so I'm excited. My part of my goal was to try and recreate that sort of sensation. Like, you've got to watch this show. You know, the fact that it's in real time over a 6-hour flight, but broken into episodics, that means you have to go back. You have to continue the story, and hopefully people sit around and talk about that. You know, the show is very relatable. You and I have both been on flights, and we can all imagine what we would be like in that situation. So I feel like, you know, as someone that has been part of many different types of productions, and being a producer or part of a collective of producers, especially at this caliber, it just felt really good to put something that was different, and that I think will bring everyone together to talk about. I think the most enjoyable thing about Sam is that he's just not a typical action hero character. He's a central character. You know, a lot of the story is told through Sam's perspective. You're with Sam, you're watching Sam think, but he never does a kung fu chop. You know what I mean? He doesn't pull out a gun, and, well, he does pull out a gun actually. He doesn't sort of like have this action hero moment. He's just a guy thinking on his toes. And I was really attracted to that. You know, I'm tall man, big shoulders. You know, you get offered a lot of roles that are about your brawn and, you know, being the guy. But in this case, Sam is just, you know, as fearful, as scared as everyone else, but just had the guile and the smarts to kind of try and outwit them and think about them, push their buttons in a way that you're kind of going, oh mate, they are going to kill you. You should be careful. As much as big as you are, but you're going to get killed, because they're very ruthless. You just loved watching. I just loved the idea that Sam just kept pushing and using his brain. If I was in Sam's position, I'd probably want to appeal to those that I felt I could say, does this make any sense? You know, Sam was sort of like, okay, I'm gonna figure out this puzzle and see who's who. I wouldn't do that as much as I would try and be like, do you mind if we could just have a quick 10-minute conversation about what's gonna happen today? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if I could appeal to that person. Where Sam is more about, right, I'm gonna figure it out, figure out what your weakness is, and whatnot. And I don't think I do that. I sort of like try and appeal to like, look, mate, this is silly. You know what I mean? No matter what you're being promised that's gonna happen, this is not gonna end up good. And that's what I would do. I don't think I could just sit there and, you know, hope. I think I would probably pipe up and talk. There's always like that question about what do you think audiences should take away from the show? And, you know, ultimately for me, it's more about how far can I get them to escape? I don't necessarily want them to take anything away. Not that, I don't want them to take away, what would I do in a hijack? Or, oh, I'm gonna go and be a pilot now. Or I'm gonna go, I don't really necessarily want them to take anything away except for being completely embroiled in the story and just escape for a second. You know, I want, like I said, I want them to talk about it, talk about the characters, talk about what they would do in those situations. But I ultimately want them to be like, I couldn't stop watching that show. I was just, the next episode, next episode, next episode. That's what I want.